GPS
Of my GPS.
of this GPS. This sounds interesting. Would everybody please welcome Luis Saenz up here?
Well, good afternoon or good morning, everybody. As I said, the title of my speech is the GPS of my GPS. And I was overly excited when I was able to get a smartphone a few years back, and because I was not only able to make a phone call, but on this occasion I will be able to have a GPS app on my phone. And so little I knew that about 8 years ago I would be the GPS of my GPS. In other words, my spouse, Kevin. For some reason, I'm always lost. When it comes to my sense of orientation, I just don't know which way is north, south, east, or west. And yes, I know that the sun sets on the west, the rises on the east, and just by that, I guess I'm just telling you that something is not right out there just by altering the order of events. You know, like I always have a hard time. So, on the other hand, Kevin, he seems to have a GPS built in, and no matter what, he knows where he is, and I can literally stop him in the middle of the woods, and he will find his way back home, unfortunately. He has tried, over the years, he has tried to teach me to pay attention to details like the moss grows on the back of the trees where there's no sunlight to them, and to this day I don't know if that means it's the south side of the tree or the north side. I just don't register that way, but he does. Anyway, I just don't know how I did it back in Mexico growing up, and I guess the naming convention of the streets is different than it is here in the United States. Here we have South Main and North Penn Avenue, and so you know if you're going south or east or west, whatever the address is. Down in Mexico, it's pretty much the street name and the building number. And it also helps that, you know, I grew up in a mining town where there's more cantinas and houses and businesses. Not really, but kind of close, right? So if you ask for directions, people would say, oh, you know where Mundo's Bar is? And you go, yeah. So they say, well, 2 blocks and then turn right, and then you keep driving until you reach New York's bar, and then your house is going to be, you know, that you're looking for is going to be on the left side. So that system worked for me growing up, and while I live in Mexico. But once that I moved to the States, it became a challenge because I was still trying to use that, using points of reference as the way to navigate, and it didn't help much when I was working, you know, around farms. I was on dirt roads, and my points of reference were crops. So I'll be driving, and then I knew that I needed to turn right on the cornfield. So that worked for a few months until the next time around that cornfield wasn't corn anymore. It was a soy field, and so I just kept driving, and I'll miss my exit or my turn. So once that I got the GPS on my phone, life was getting easier. And most of the times I would be just driving, and as I say, it will be easier until or unless Kevin will decide to call me right in the moment that the lady GPS was about to tell me to turn right and take exit number 5. So my phone would change from the GPS screen to the phone call, and so I'll pick up, and at this time the lady GPS will be telling me to turn around. And so I'm having Kevin on one, you know, side of the conversation, and then on top of that, the lady GPS is telling me to turn around and to take exit and try to direct me again. And the worst part of it is most of the times Kevin will just call to make sure I knew where I was going. You know, like, do you know where you're going? Remember, you need to turn on this street. And so it was kind of frustrating. And one of the, I guess, objectives or goals that I say that my next car that I'll have, it should have a GPS built in to avoid all of these conflicts. So I did, and it kind of worked fine, and I was getting used to, this was back in Oklahoma City, I was getting used to the city, I knew my way around until we moved to Jackson, which happens to be Kevin's hometown. So now he knows the whole town, and he knows where to go, and now that we're on the car, he feels the need to tell me where to go. So we're on the car, and sometimes, you know, I don't take me wrong, it's not that I don't appreciate him trying to help me to get to places, but I would rather have the GPS on and he and I can have a conversation other than him telling me turn right, turn left, and the speed limit is 55 miles per hour. But if I decide to turn the GPS on, somehow, and I don't know why, he feels the need to tell the GPS lady to tell me where to go. So he tells me, and then the GPS lady tells me, and even on top of that, he wants to make sure that the route that he has planned is the right one, so he puts it on his phone. So not only I have the GPS lady, but I have the GPS of my GPS lady, and on top of that, the GPS of the GPS of my GPS lady telling me all at once where I need to go. So it's frustrating. And so I know that you relate to these, and if you ever felt like you know, driving with your spouse can be a challenge, just put yourself on my shoes. I remember growing up, you know, seeing my dad driving around the block or going places and being so proud to even admit that he was lost. And then my mom getting upset at him because he wasn't pulling over so she could go and ask for directions and all that. At the end of the day, I think that we all are proud. We think that we're right, either like if we're lost or not, or we know where we're supposed to be going. In my case, I just gave up and I let all my GPSs tell me where to go. With that, thanks so much.